Okay. Today, I'm making this video for AP Lit kids that are not here. And we're going to start. Take out a lined sheet of paper and title it AP Gov Test Tips. Some last minute tips to help you do well on the test. Stuff that actually, I guarantee there'll be 2 or 3 new pieces of information that you never heard of before that are super valuable. So do that. Pause. All right, let's begin our paper. Shh. I'm recording. Jordy, you got to stop. All right.
Oh, I already signed it. Thank you.
Anybody not signed it?
I'm recording. This is awkward. Okay. All right. Go to your paper and write down on the first line. Write down. Ian, put your phone down. Andrew, put your phone down. Write down 6 a.m. I'm talking about tomorrow. 6 a.m. AP Gov breakfast in my room. First of all. You sure did, Ian. You sure did. AP Gov, 6 a.m. breakfast. Yep, I'll see you there. After that, now look, I think they sent you an email that says go to the gym at 7 a.m., but...
8 too at 7 a.m.
It's at 8?
I got one myself at 8.
I mean, I know it starts at 8. I'm going to say you want to be there at like 7:40 outside or something. So I'm going to call and verify, but you can write down, 7:40, line up at the gym. 7:40, line up at the gym. Do you need to bring a student ID? How's that work?
Yeah.
Okay, bring.
Either that or Student Connect or something.
Bring something. Okay, this is a big tip. Important tip here. Dress in layers because the gym can be cold. They pump the AC in there during testing, so a lot of times kids are freezing and it's distracting. So dress with a hoodie and some pants. Dress warm. I know it's going to be like 92 degrees outside, but dress warm.
It's like 71.
I don't want you shivering and getting a 3 instead of a 4. What else? Bring 2 pens and 2 pencils. Bring snacks. Bring snacks. Snacks for the 10-minute break between multiple choice and FRQ. Not for while you're testing. I don't think you can eat while you're testing. Let's talk about you should get like a good night's sleep. You should get a good night's sleep and stuff, but do you need to write that down? I don't know. All right, draw a little line. Let's talk about the structure of the test. So new section, the structure of the test. How many multiple choice questions? 60. How many minutes you got? 45. 60 questions in 45 minutes. How does she know that? 60 questions in 45 minutes. This is the only thing where you actually could run out of time because I think the FRQs there's more than enough time. So put a little parentheses there like time alert. Keep an eye on the clock, especially if you're a slow test taker. Make sure that you finish everything on time. I think they give a 10-minute verbal warning and then they say pencils down. So like you have to be paying attention and keeping an eye on the clock yourself. Welcome to class.
Did they do the same thing? Did they do the same thing at the SAT and like omit the answers?
I don't know how. No, wait, what?
Like, do they not like count the answers that you didn't finish?
No, they're gonna count. They're gonna count all 60. So if you left 10 blank, you missed those 10 questions. So how about write down? Do not leave anything blank. But like guess bubble if you have to, because you're running out of time. Guess bubble if you have to. It's kind of depressing, but yeah, you actually were supposed to. Everyone was supposed to grab those, but we can do it later. It's fine.
We're supposed to grab a test book?
Yeah, but we'll do it after. Okay, and then the FRQs. Tell me about the FRQs. 4 FRQs, and you have no choices. You have to do all of them. So write down 4 FRQs. No choices. You gotta do them all. How much time per FRQ? 25 minutes. The same timer I've been setting all year. 25 minutes per FRQ. That's more time than you need, I think. But also, like you guys got a little lazy with me, and you were writing short FRQs towards the end there. I need you to like be your best, right? Like Melania Trump says, be best. Okay. Did you see that? She did a Be Best campaign or something? Nobody saw it. Okay. Sorry, Melania. I'm going to give you a lot of FRQ tips here to help you score better. Okay, I'm going to pause this while I gather my thoughts. Okay, in relation to the FRQs, make sure you mark the hell out of the question. Like mark it up, circle the verbs, all that stuff that was like annoying when you had me. But when you had me, you had already seen the questions on the possible. You're seeing this for the first time. Do not rush. Really take your time. Outline some answers next to the question. Outline some answers next to the question. And if you write stuff down you don't want them to grade, just draw a slash through it. They won't grade it. They won't include it. So if you outline like a large section and you use the lines, just cross it off and then get started with your essay. They expect it. They're not bothered by it at all. Okay. Okay, I talked about having some very big tips for you for the FRQ that I've never talked about before. Here is one of them. This makes me nervous with 30 kids absent right now. This is a document that I pulled up, but it's actually, before we even get started, I'm going to blow your mind right now. I don't want you to label the sections of the FRQ. You know, we always label A, B, C, D. Don't do it. Can you write down a note? Do not label the sections. There's a reason why. All year I had you do it to make it easier for me to grade. I do not want you to label the sections of the FRQ. I do want you, like when B begins, like go to the next paragraph. So like do sections by paragraph instead. Does that make sense? Can you write down a little note? Do sections by paragraph. Skip a line. Do not have a run-on like essay that just never ends with no breaks.
Do we reiterate the question?
Like strategy-wise? Yeah. I mean, like you should answer it in such a way that they know, like, oh, I think they're on B now. What is the reason that I would have you not label? What's the positive?
Maybe like you have like an answer in one section that you didn't have in the other.
That is correct. If I have, here's A and I label it A and it's like, that wasn't that good. And then in B it's like, oh, they cleared it up. Like for sure they knew what they were talking about. Some graders won't give the points because you didn't have A answers in A label. So if you don't label, now the grader, it's up to them to just be like, did they answer A in the whole essay? Oh yeah, they did. Did they answer B in the whole essay? Oh yeah, they did. We want to be kind of organized, but we don't want to label because of that risk. I think it would be pretty stingy if you labeled and they took points away, but let's just like be extra careful for the 25% chance that could really come up and matter. This is the other like huge tip I'm going to give you today that, I don't know, it's kind of coming out of nowhere, that we didn't do this all year because I didn't want to grade super long essays. When you get an FRQ that says choose one of the following, choose two of the following, and there's like 3 or 4 things, do them all. You can do them all, and they're going to be like, they didn't do too good at this first one, but the next 2 were great. We're going to give them full points. So that's called the spare tire strategy. Give them more than they ask for. If they say choose 2 and you do all 3, do it. Like absolutely do that. So I am telling you for the very first time, I did not have you do that all year because I didn't want you to do that on my FRQs. It's too much to grade, you know, and a little complicated. But now they're getting paid to grade. We're going to put them to work. They're going to grade as much as possible. So keep your essays as long as you can with as much details as you can. Be extra. If you just write down the bare minimum and you're wrong, they've got nowhere to find points. Write down more. Okay, I'm going to show you some of this document that this lady wrote. Okay. You know the verbs, right? When you get an identify verb, do you need to write a whole bunch? No, it can be pretty short. So a question, identify an amendment that expanded suffrage in the United States. Turn with your neighbor and discuss what are some amendments. A lot of you guys probably said the 19th Amendment. These are both acceptable answers. Look how quick you can be for identify. 19th Amendment, women could vote. That's like doing the least, though. Be a little bit better. With the 19th Amendment, women were gained the right to vote. Check this out. I thought this was interesting. She says, she was a reader for this question. She says, if students identify what the amendment did, they got the number wrong, we still gave them credit. So if they said the 20th Amendment gave women the right to vote, they were like, you were wrong on the number, but you're right that the Constitution, they changed it and it gave women the right to vote. They gave them the points. So if you feel like, I'm guessing, I'll write nothing, better to guess and like throw stuff out there and see what sticks. If I'm a kid, this is what I do instead. What I do is I say, women were granted the right to vote in a constitutional amendment. If I'm uncertain, you know what I mean? If I'm not sure the number, I just say, the Constitution was changed and women were granted the right to vote. Sometimes that's enough to get you the point. If you know the number, do it. But if you feel like, I don't know, or if you don't know the name of a case, you can describe the case and maybe still get the points. All right? What else? Okay, describe is you're writing a medium amount. How about this right here? Describe 2 strategies that interest groups use to influence the electoral process. Turn to your neighbor, discuss 2 strategies, go. So this is a good indicator of like marking up the question and making sure you're actually answering the question. Tell me 2 strategies interest groups use to influence the electoral process. You tell me, what do you got? Litigation and lobbying are not correct. Why? Why? What's the words in the question that make it not correct? Electoral process. Do those things have to do with elections? No. And that's why we got to be so careful to answer the question. She talks about how kids that year talked about things like lobbying and stuff, and I was like, that's not electoral process. So pump the brakes and slow down. They give money to candidates that are running for office. That's one way. They form PACs. They do run ads. Let's take a look. There's actually, she's got some right here. They endorse candidates. Remember, like the NRA says, vote for this person, like that kind of thing. These are things that have to do with elections. Be very careful about answering something the question's not actually asking. She talks about that down here. Yeah. A lot of kids that year answered it wrong because they didn't really pay attention that it said electoral process. And then explain is the longest verb. Can you take some notes on your paper? Identify is short, describe is medium, and explain is long. Identify is short, describe is medium, and explain is long. Okay, she says always close the loop. Close the loop means, and I know this is stupid, but like you write a sentence and you just say, and that is how interest groups impact the electoral process. Like you're explaining how you just answered the question. Like the last sentence of a paragraph explains how you just answered the question. Close the loop. And that is how interest groups impact the electoral process. Because if you say lobbying and you write that sentence, you might be like, dang, that's not how interest groups impact the electoral. It's like one more step to make you realize you didn't answer the question the right way. Let me show you what else she says. She says, notice that I provided a spare tire by responding to all 3 things they asked for, not just the 2 that, all 3 things they offered, not just the 2 they asked for. I did this to show you, but also because if a grader will look at all 3 and take the best ones that you answered. So that's like such a big tip. Tell the people that are not here today that they need to do that. I don't see a lot of compare questions. Compare is also a very long response. Can you put compare equals long? Watch, this will be the year they use it.
This is recent.
It's pretty recent. So this is a graph. I know this is crazy, but a lot of times kids don't read the title of the graph. Can you write down a little section of your paper, graphs? Graphs and charts. I guess it's not a graph, it's table, a chart. Is a chart a table?
Or is table chart?
A chart is a table.
Is water wet?
No.
No.
I really don't care. Okay. This is definitely a table. We know that. Okay. So here's a table, and what's the topic of the table?
Presidential appointees to the federal judiciary by selected Democratic.
Put in your own words.
What president appoints, like what minorities or
Okay.
what races?
Okay, it's judges that are appointed by the president, and what's their characteristics. So we have Obama and Bush, and the characteristics of the judges they appointed. Let me tell you a heartbreaker for kids who screwed up this question one year. This is sad, and I think that we did this question somewhere, and maybe it was just in Saturday school, and I didn't even point this out, but this is how petty they can get. If a kid said that Obama appointed less men than Bush, he got it wrong.
But specifically that person.
Exactly. It's that you can't say Obama appointed less men than Bush. I don't know if you guys can see that on the phone.
Well, he did it.
He did not. We don't know that. What if Obama appointed 1,000 people and Bush appointed 100? That's the problem. So you could be wrong. Like, don't make assumptions. If he appointed 1,000 people and Bush appointed 100, then Obama appointed more men. So what you say in the FRQ is Obama appointed a lower percentage of men. So like, just be careful on your phrasing when it comes to charts and graphs. So that's my advice under the section. Write down, be very careful of your phrasing when it comes to charts and graphs. Because lacking a word like percentage is enough to make you not get the points for that question. And you need all those points. Okay, we're reading this doc. I'll just read you the end, but I think you know a lot of it. This says, do not label your sections. And she lays it all out for the same reason I said, because you're going to get more points if you don't label your sections, just in case. Pre-write the question. You've got more than enough time to answer your FRQs, organize your thoughts, and think about how you want to say stuff. And then What happens if you write your whole essay and then you realize, like, dang, I could have wrote a lot better B? She says, feel free to add B at the end. And if it feels out of place, like suddenly, like you've got this extra thing, you can say, in addition, as regards to the section of B, let me also say, so you're letting them know this did have to do with B. It's not just like thrown in here at the end. Even if you didn't do that, I bet you'd get the points. But just to be extra careful, you can say, in addition, in regards to the section of B, I also believe that blah, 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 and so you can add more stuff at the end and just label. Can you take a little note? If you use up not use it all up, if you wrote your whole thing, and you're definitely going to have extra space, they've got extra papers, feel free to add it at the end and then just say like, oh, hey, you could maybe draw an arrow or something if you wanted to. But don't sit there and be like, well, it's too late. I can't fix it. It's better to have it like awkwardly pasted in there than to not have it at all. Whitney, what were you going to say?
Exactly. I was just going to ask.
Okay. Okay. Bianca asked a question that's pretty good. Is it like do an FRQ and then they say take a break, your 25 minutes is up? No. You get all 4 FRQs and you just tackle them how you want. Wait, I thought about one more thing. You made me think of about a very valuable thing.
Wait, there were 2 stacks over there. Do we need one of each?
No, they're the same. Go back to the tips real quick. I thought of one more thing. You're going through the book. Go back to the tips. Real quick. When you get your FRQs, I want you to like glance through all 4 prompts. And Bianca had asked, is it 25 minutes and then they say take a break? No, you get all 4 and you just at your own pace. I want you to glance at all 4 prompts, rank them from like, oh, I love this one, I kind of like this one, and then I hate this one. Save the one you hate for last. Save your weakest prompt for last. If you run out of time on the weakest, I'm not stressing out because you weren't going to, low-key, you weren't going to do that good anyway on the bad one. So do the good ones first. Do the ones you feel strong about first, okay? Sound good?
I'm surprised I actually made